You mentioned you were once in a room with 12 or 14 companies in your alliance, and only two had done anything with AI.
Yeah.
And these are big organizations. What's holding everyone else back, and how are you addressing those things differently?
Yes, I remember that call. It was very interesting. I think a lot of it comes down to risk appetite. There's a lot of companies out there. Again, we work in a very traditional, standardized industry
Hmm.
where we think it's ripe for disruption, but other people may say it's always going to be this way, and it's always been this way.
Yeah.
And AI can be seen as a fad. There's a lot of scaremongering out there as to what it can actually do and how dangerous it could be, which I completely agree with. Some aspects of AI are very, very dangerous, and that's where responsible AI and governance and guardrails become even more important. But I think a lot of people just don't know where to start. I honestly think it's that simple, Rory. I've been in so many meetings and so many discussions with people where they're like, AI is this huge thing, it's overwhelming, and I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to put a pin in the ground and just say, I'm starting here,
Yeah.
because it could go everywhere and it can do everything. Really. So that's where I think a lot of the problems stem from. And I've actually been working with Rachel Proffer from Microsoft. She's coming to, you mentioned Dynamics User Group earlier. We have a Dynamics Con regional event in Colorado in April.
Yeah.
Shameless plug there for April 9th. If anyone in Colorado wants to come along, it'll be a lot of fun. But Rachel's actually going to do our keynote address on this subject of where do I
Okay.
start? How do I get past that sense of I'm overwhelmed and I don't know where to go? But I think that's one of the key component pieces here. I remember late last year I went to a industry event out in Salt Lake City, and I presented on the solution I mentioned earlier, that very simplistic, put an agent on top of a SharePoint site and let it bring that data back to you. It's not generating anything beyond its confines of what it can see. Presented all that stuff, and multiple people in the room were like, this is amazing. Like, how do we do this? And again, it's not that difficult once you know what it is. It's an agent with specific instruction sets sitting on a SharePoint site. Sounds really easy from an IT perspective, but it's mind blowing from a non-IT perspective. But showing that, it
Yeah.
was really interesting, Brody, because there was a government worker in the room, and she was dead against it. She was very much like, we would block you from using any AI to do anything like this. And I challenged her and I said, why? Because all it's doing is reading the data that all of our people already have access to and can read anyway.
Yeah.
It's just presenting it back differently. But it was very interesting to hear that mindset, because she was dead against it. And it's not her per se, it was the government mentality of AI is bad, it can't be used. But when I started to challenge it and say, well, everyone's got access to this already. It's only presenting the information back that, if I went and looked through all these documents, I'd have to put the same information together and provide a response.
Yeah.
It's just shortcutting that whole process. So I think there's misconceptions out there. I think there's fear. Let's be very honest about that. There's a lot of
Yeah.
fear, but I think there's also that whole misconception about it. The big one for me, and I've heard it from multiple people, is I just don't know where to start. There's so many things and there's so many facets to it. And
Yeah.
I hear this as well. If I haven't done anything by now, I've already lost. It's like, no, you haven't.
Definitely
No
not.
one's really winning in the AI game certainly from a client perspective. These things some of them are really easy to deploy. I think, like I talked about earlier, putting
Yeah.
something on a SharePoint site, pretty easy. Some things are more complicated. You mentioned the computer use agent. We are pretty far down the road with that right now, but we don't have a fully fledged solution that I can just put into production tomorrow. There are challenges with that project, and we
Yeah.
continue to work through them. We're actually getting the latest QA model later today, so hopefully that addresses some of the problems that we've had. But I would put it down to the key issue with that, in that context that you set earlier about the 12 to 14 companies who only two of them had done anything. I think it's just people feel overwhelmed. And it's this huge technological revolution that I think people think too deeply about.
Mm.
And it's, where do you get those quick wins? Where can I deploy it and show that it adds value? And I
Yeah.
think leaning into what we've done with that whole Be Bold initiative and strategic outlook, that's where we've had a bit of success, because we've been able to break that down to a very low level and say, look at this, it can
Yeah.
save you countless hours of time. So that would be my recommendation. Start small and then iterate from there.